All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are here at Pickwick State Park. We're getting ready for the third event of the Pro Circuit season here on Lake Pickwick on the Tennessee River. And we just got done with 2 days of practice. Matt, what do you think about practice?
I think practice is pretty dang short at this point. 2 days on a body of water that's this big is tough to break down. There's a ton of places I wanted to look at that I didn't get to look at. There's some areas I wanted to look at that I've heard are going to unleash a lot of bass. So I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to check out some of that stuff. But I think it's gonna fish. I think it's gonna fish good. I think the weight range we're looking for is gonna have to be at 14 pounds or so if you want to make day 3, and it could potentially be a little bit more. It could be a little bit less, but the average size fish is pretty decent, I think, here. I feel like with the warming trend we've got going here, we're going to have potentially a lot of fish moving up shallow and being more aggressive. So I think it could turn into a real slugfest.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that are going to go on. I mean, in 2 days of practice, you talk about being exhausted, man. I don't think that I was this exhausted when we had 3 days of practice. After yesterday, man, I had seen the entire lake, which is a very, very long lake. The last couple miles upriver is the only area that I didn't see. The rest of the lake I fished in 2 days, and I've got an idea of like a general area that I want to fish, but you know, the biggest question is, you know, what phase is going to be most dominant in this tournament? Because I think that whichever phase ends up playing, you're going to see big weights coming from that deal. But you know, I know that I'm pretty much going to be focused in close to the bank, and I mean, that's pretty much all I'm going to do. But I don't know if that's going to be the big player.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are fishing the bank for the most part, or fishing, you know, I'd say 6 foot of water or less. And the issue with that is going to be rotation.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could get in the right rotation and you could, you know, put a mid-teen to upper teen bag in the boat real fast if you hit it right. But I think you could get in the wrong rotation. You could potentially, you know, be struggling to catch a limit.
Yeah, you could be fishing behind people. There's a lot of shorts. Like, the biggest problem with doing what we're probably both doing is the fact that you could just go catch little short fish all day, you know, catch a bunch of bucks. And so I don't know. I mean, that to me is the biggest struggle, and also fishing behind people, because it's seeming to fish pretty small right now, and which I think is, you know, I thought it would spread out a little bit more, but because I don't think there's a whole lot of things going, at least during practice, there's not a whole lot of things to disperse people into doing different stuff.
Yeah, and there's really, I mean, when we started practice, we had about a foot or so more water.
Mm-hmm.
And right now with the falling water, we're getting to a point where a lot of the cover that was in the water isn't deep enough now. So all it's doing is shrinking the playing field even more, which is going to be the biggest issue. Like, I could really see this tournament going 2 different directions. I could see it being a slugfest, and I could see it being a grinder.
Yeah, and it all depends. Now we've got a little bit more warmer weather coming up, so I personally think that's going to change it quite a bit. You know, the first and especially the second day of the tournament, Friday, we're going to have 85 degrees and sunny. I think that's going to be a big catalyst for some type of movement, but I don't know which direction. It could be pushing fish to the bank. It could be pushing fish out offshore a little bit more. So I don't know, but either way, man, I think that both of us are dedicated to pretty much one thing, and I mean, I know I'm going to have a couple Fitzgerald flipping rods on the deck and just be covering water. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is an event, and the lake's big enough where you can fish your strengths. Yeah. And I think there's going to be guys. I personally think the tournament's going to be one offshore. Yeah. I think there'll be people that have some offshore pre-spawn staging places, and that's where it's going to be won. I think those spots are harder to find. They're more of a gamble potentially,
right?
But I think that's how it's going to be won. So I think you're going to be able to do whatever you want. So in this case, I'm more of a shallow power fisherman. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing I'm going to do. I'm going to enjoy doing it. I just hope that we can get a handful of big bites. I had 2 good days of practice, so hopefully, that continues on. But you never know. This time of year, everything moves pretty quick.
What's your weight?
All right, I honestly am more in the ballpark of 14 pounds a day to make a check. I think if it's firing,
check or day 3?
Oh, day 3.
Top 50 cut.
Day 3. I think 14 3/4 is going to make the top. And that's being a little bit generous, but I always under
You're notorious for being low.
Yeah, so I'm going higher, and I'm probably still going to be low.
That scares me a little. I mean, that's some serious weight if we're gonna need that. I mean, I think for sure you're probably looking at 13, and then I'm gonna say close to 14 too. But I just think it's not gonna be that easy.
I think that it's fishing too small for it to be much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Personally, but I want to give a big shout out to our buddy Jim Tutt here.
Those weights seem awful high to me.
Jim, what do you think weight-wise?
I had a terrible practice, but I think you're right in the ballpark because there's too many good quality fishing here, and it's going to get better. So yeah, I'd say around 14 day to make top 50, and then man, for 3 days you better be bumping 60 to make the last day. I think.
Yeah.
For top 10. Too many fish here. Too many
really?
Guys, too many guys.
60. How much is that?
20 a day.
That's 20 a day.
But I think the reason I say that, there's too many guys that know where they set up and know where they go to that can pull up there and catch big sack off. Not me. I'm fishing shallow, kind of like y'all. But we'll see. You could get out there and catch 2 7-pounders up shallow, and you're right where you need to be. So that's my thoughts.
There we go. All right. He was just too pretty to keep him behind the camera. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you check out all 3 of our social media platforms. Do you have a YouTube channel? Twitter. He's on Twitter. And we're on YouTube. So check us out, Matt Steffen Fishing and Sonar Fishing, and keep up with all the action on MajorLeagueFishing.com, and root for all 3 of us. That's right. Hopefully we can get some good mojo going this week.
Big old bass.
Big old bass. All right, guys, we're going to see you on the water.